Welcome to Gracefully Graying. I am your host, attorney Henry Gornby. Today on Gracefully Graying, I am very pleased to welcome Carrie LeZotte, who is the Director of Bloomfield Township Cable and Community Relations. Carrie, it's really a pleasure having you as my guest. So, first of all, why don't you tell our viewers about who you are and your background?
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much for having me on your show. So I got my first exposure in the late 80s in Dearborn, where I grew up, at a community access television station. So if we kind of roll the tape there so that we can see a little bit, that's actually me in the center with the striped shirt. And we would host a video show similar to MTV. They would mail us the videos. And at this point, I was we would take live calls from the community in Dearborn and answer, the questions or talk to people while they were watching. And I think it was a 3 or 4 hour show on Saturday night. So I spent many nights at our community television station, and I really didn't even know that that's what it was. We had one of the first video production classes in a high school in Dearborn, started by Russ Gibb. And it was actually his birthday recently. Well, it would have been his birthday. He passed away about a decade ago. But in any case, that's where I got my first exposure to video. And I really never thought about doing anything other than production, because it was super fun. My dad we did attend an engineering, like a parent night at Ford Motor, and I that did not take. So that's where I got my start. And then since then, I went to Michigan State. We don't need to see any more of that video. I went to Michigan State. You can see my little Spartansville sign behind me there, where I started in telecommunications, but then I switched to an interdisciplinary program and got my degree from Michigan State, and was working on any kind of production I could find. This was in the 90s. And then at one point I went back, left school, graduated, went back, made a movie. And then from that point, I eventually ended up at Comerica Bank, where I was doing internal video communications for them for almost a decade. And then while I was there, I was starting my own production company, which I ran pretty much through COVID, doing a whole variety of production work throughout Michigan. Not a ton of commercial work, more documentary projects. I ended up working on some political campaigns. The one that was award-winning was for Mayor Mike Duggan in 2017. And so I did a little bit of that work. And then during COVID, I pretty much decided the production, I was chasing work that the next generation was doing in a way that was not charging as much. And so I decided to go back to school. I got my master's during COVID, and found this job here at the township during that time. So I've been here 3 years now. I just celebrated my 3rd anniversary.
Well, congratulations. And, I love your enthusiasm.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Carrie, why don't you tell us exactly what your job is? I know the title is Director of Bloomfield Township Cable and Community Relations, so it sounds like you're wearing a lot of hats.
Right. So I really do 2 things in the position. So there's the cable side and the community relations side. And the cable side is community programming. So bringing in producers like yourself, making the studio available to them, and also working with the 5 other communities that BCTV serves. So that's Bloomfield Hills, Birmingham, Bingham Farms, Franklin, Beverly Hills, and who am I missing? I'm missing. There's 6 of us, and 6 total. So all of those stations doing community programming here and making digital literacy available to the community, and being anywhere, as much as we possibly can be. And then the community relations side does really everything for the township specifically. So our staff manages the newsletter that goes out to residents that they receive in their homes, all of the social media pages. We also do some grants and engagement now, so to bring people into the township for things like Food Truck Wednesdays that are happening in the summer, and a whole variety of things, supporting the other department heads that work here for the township. So we work a lot with the police department, covering their events, and the senior center, and everybody else, all the departments. So doing that kind of work is the community relations side.
Where are the food truck Wednesdays? Are those at the library?
No, they're hosted here at the cable station.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's every Wednesday through the summer?
I have a postcard. I have a postcard somewhere. Stand by. I'll be right back. Oh, look.
Oh,
My team was able to get one for me. This is the postcard so my team produces this kind of collateral material as well. And then also things like our township app. That was the community relations side. So you can sign up for the township app, where if you see a problem, you can take a picture and report it. This is one of the things that we've done here that has been really popular. So we've done this since I arrived here.
that's great. Tell us about some of the key programs here at Bloomfield Township Cable.
Right. Well, we have to start with you, Henry. How long have you been doing your show?
Well, this is my second show. This one I started about 4 years ago, but the first one, actually, I had one called Practical Law that ran from 2000 and 1997
Right.
for about 20 years.
Yes. So you've been a long time producer for us, and I think
Yes.
that is just a testament to how important it is to tell our local community stories. And so we have a few producers like yourself that have been here maybe 10 or 20 years. And one of the newer producers that we have, we're going to show a little bit of a clip from the Franklin show. So I actually am a resident in Franklin, and this is the open to his show. Is that playing at full speed there? We can go. Yeah. So the Franklin show is kind of twofold. One, it's about Franklin, the community, and second, the dog is named Franklin. And so he does that here in the studio. Michael Seltzer books all of his guests. And the reason why we're talking about it is because he just won an award. I'm going to read this to make sure that I get it correct. It's the best of category for informational talk show series, and that was from the Alliance for Community Media. So it was a national award that I think there were 1,000 different entries from across the country. And what's fun about this show, it's like it gives you the community connection as far as the information going on and the people that are here locally. And then this little dog, we edit in like the dog's sighing and sleeping and snoring and making little remarks. So it's a little bit quirky, which I think is kind of one of the things that makes it special. So we want to congratulate Michael on that award. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, so that's really the cable side of things. The community relations side of things, we also received an award. And I want to show you. So this was kind of a piece of collateral. It was related to elections and our collaboration with the clerk department. And so initially I got something similar in the mail, something similar to this that was like a fold out that read, top to bottom, more vertical than a horizontal. And what I also liked about it is that it was, or what I wanted to do was, as I have needed readers myself, I wanted to make something that you didn't need your glasses to read it. So that was one of the other key points to this. But I brought this in and showed this to Amy, who does our website and a lot of our print materials, and said, this is really kind of the inspiration for what we need to do for the elections. And then this is actually what she designed after I brought that other piece in. So this, do I need to share my screen here? Okay. So Steve's got it. So this is the creative brief. So this will give you a good overview for what the community relations side does. So our partners in this were the Clerks department, and they won the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, the MiExcellence Awards, excellence and overall best practices, large jurisdiction. So this was the first time that they had received an award, and it was for this communication plan that we collaborated with on them. So I really look at our departments throughout the township is our clients. So we are here to serve them and their needs. So this is the clerks. Where is it here? That's the clerks team. Our clerk Martin Brook is in the middle there. And so this is who is providing us all of the information and reviewing everything as we produce the material. So the goals were to increase turnout by educating local voters about new voting enhancements that make voting easier, and to decrease spoiled ballots by reminding people about the rules and options for ballot completion. So that's what they needed to accomplish.
That's impressive. I mean, the first shot was the entrance to our library, which is a very pretty walkway. So,
well,
yeah.
and that's where a lot of the early voting was taking place this time too. So this is the piece of collateral that I just showed you. And here the communication plan was messaging, which here we are collaborating with community relations team, that's us, to create a strategic, consistent communication plan, the mailer that I showed you, and then the consistent messaging. So here's the mail campaign that went out, and the clerks, that it's within their budget. So they're the ones that are paying for this communication that we help design. And then we do it similar as far as the look and feel, went out in social media. So this is what Amy really, she schedules all of these things so that people are receiving that consistent messaging. And then the rest of the team, so I did an interview with Coffee with Carrie. I did that with Martin to talk about this. We have the app where you could find out this information. So it's all over and all of the various platforms that we manage. And this is what the team, we're involved with, from the beginning, the creative part of it, then working with them on what the exact messaging. And then our department, we do, thorough reviews as far as copy editing and, talking it through and making sure that we feel like that it's the right thing, because you have to hit everybody in all different kinds of ways these days. Like one way is not going to be enough. And so the outcomes for this were the 335 election workers, the voter turnout, which is always really good in Bloomfield Township. We have 74% voted early and 53% used the drop box. And I believe that for that election, they added 3 more drop boxes. We'd have to ask Martin about that. But in any case, that's kind of a good overview of what we do in the community relations department. Community relations side.
I use the drop box. My wife and I always vote absentee and early. So yeah, we use the drop box right at the township hall. So, but I'm impressed because it's like, I think I've been around. So I think you're the 5th head of cable since I started doing the show. And, I see a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of synergy with what you're doing. And it's very, very impressive. Why don't you tell our viewers about some of your other goals for the cable station and as for community relations for not only Bloomfield Township, but I guess all the
Sure.
6 communities that you serve?
Sure. Well, thank you. And I wanted to just mention that we are celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. So I'm not sure if there's been how many directors that there have been, but 40 years is a long time to be running the cable station. I think the top priority right now is making sure that we maintain our cable fees. So that kind of revenue that's generated because of the operation of cable within the rights of way, that is something that it's been talked about for probably 2 decades now, as the lobbyists on the other, the streaming companies, what they are now, but in trying to erode those fees. But the fees are paid for the operation of running in the rights of way. And those are only fees that are paid by cable companies. So in our community, it's mostly Comcast and a little bit of AT&T. Now, this year, MetroNet is a fiber company that is going to be coming into the township to provide fiber service, streaming service to our residents, which we think is fantastic for competition and another way for residents to get their streaming services. However, they don't pay the same rates. It's not apples to apples as far as the revenue that's generated by the streaming services or the fiber company as it is with Comcast. And so what I'm working on with our lobbyists and with other executive directors from around the state is a change to the Metro Act, because the Metro Act charges, because of the Metro Act, which was created in 2002, they charge 5 cents a foot to operate within the rights of way. And other states charge like $1.50 or $2 a foot. And so that's what we're hoping to update the legislation so that it can keep up with technology, because YouTube was founded in 2005, 3 years after the Metro Act. So even though their streaming services and video services are what's provided by that fiber, they don't pay the same rates as Comcast. And the cable funds, they don't just fund the cable building. Many places they fund parks, they fund public safety, they fund roads. So throughout the state of Michigan, it's an estimated $150 million in funding that could go away if we switch more to fiber and other ways of delivering video services. So that's pretty much my main concern right now, is making sure that Bloomfield Township and the other communities that we serve and the others throughout Michigan maintain that. And so we need to be able to change the legislation, which is not something that I ever thought I would have to do as a cable director or a producer. You know, I love doing the community content, and I'd love overseeing our young producers and seeing the kind of work that they can create. But I think that this is the really pressing issue for us here in the community now.
Well, I think, doesn't this cable station produce more shows than any other cable station in the state, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, because we serve 6 communities, I would say that we probably do, just because in serving just the municipalities and covering all of the township meetings and city meetings, I mean, that takes up a huge piece of the work that we do. And we have 20 freelancers that help us get that done. So we have like one person who's always assigned to Franklin, one person who's always assigned to Birmingham. And so they have it like a dedicated part-time staff person that, you know, is paid on our payroll, and we have that contract through the BACB. So even just the municipal meetings, you know, we serve about 80,000 residents altogether, even though it's divided up among those 6 communities.
Carrie, what do you find most rewarding about your job here with Bloomfield Cable and the community?
I really love the community programming. I really love it, because it's so rewarding to me to be able to take, you know, someone has the spark of an idea of what kind of show they want to do, and I get to say, come on in and let's make it happen. And, you know, that is just, everybody has this good story to tell, and to allow those in our local community to do that here, that is absolutely the most rewarding part of the job and what I super enjoy. And I think that part of it is, you know, like earlier this week, I think it was Monday, I don't always keep up because there's so many people coming in all the time. I don't keep up on the calendar as much as Steve does, who manages that calendar. But we had a full-on choir come in and sing for the cable station, and it's a new program that's starting, and they did some interviews, and then they're going to cut in this choir, and it was just like so awesome to hear this music being sung in the studio. So it's like those moments are really what I find the most enjoyable and rewarding about this job.
It's definitely not dull. You know, it's interesting when you said everyone has a story to tell. One of the goals that I'm working on with Gracefully Graying is that everybody has a story to tell. And I want to do some kind of life interviews of people talking about kind of their lives, what they would do different, what they want to tell to the next generation. So, you know, what are the most important inventions of their lifetime? So
I love that idea. I love the creative process and the sparking of the ideas.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, it's like, and you know, I love your enthusiasm. And I've been through, I mean, you're doing more in 3 years than I think I've seen by a lot of the others in the last 20. So,
well, thank you. And you know what? I couldn't do it without my team. My team is incredible. So I have 2 operations managers, Greg Black, who does community relations, and Steve Rhoda, who does the cable side of things. And I really, you know, I don't worry about things when I'm gone, and they know how to get it all done. And then they are also terrific leaders of the staff that they manage. So I really, I guess I'm here to kind of oversee and, to bring that enthusiasm to everything. But as far as actually getting the work done, it's the team, and they are so, so good.
Now, I asked you what you found most rewarding. What about any frustrations? Every job has first.
I saw that question. I was like, so I'll just say that spreadsheets are not my first language. And so I don't know if it's frustrating for me. It's probably more frustrating for Jason Tice, our finance director, because I try and do I plug in things into the spreadsheet in the best way that I can, but I don't have any accounting background, or, they like things a certain way with the certain, the cells designed a certain way. So I imagine I cause him a lot of frustration, but I do think that I'm still his favorite department head. So I don't know. I don't know. I do my best. I try.
Now, one thing you mentioned, and I saw a program recently where they're saying that YouTube is where people are watching and getting most of their information more than any other media. And
Yeah.
I guess, where do you see things going in the next several years with Bloomfield Cable and in general? And especially, it seems like YouTube is really growing
Sure.
more and more.
Well, one of the first things that I did, I think that they had started a YouTube channel here maybe a decade ago. And then they didn't, they were more using the Vimeo instead, because Vimeo doesn't have any ads on it. But the advantage to having content on YouTube is that the YouTube and Google are like interconnected. And so it's not just how you title things. It's like the entire transcript of a video, like our conversation right now, would be read by AI and help people find the content. And so I know when I was applying for the job, I was, Googling the different videos so I could find content, and the videos were hard to find because they weren't on YouTube. So YouTube is definitely, I don't see the platform going anywhere. What it's changed, I think, in the time since 2005 that it started, is that it's really about the monetization. And in community access, one of the best things about us is that we aren't driven by how much money a show is making to see if it gets on air or not. So it's a little bit in conflict with I think the core values of what community programming is, but we do want people to be able to find it. So that's why we still put the videos on YouTube and make sure that the descriptions are good so that people can find them. But that's just one of the many platforms. And we still are broadcasting on cable, which is probably where a lot of the viewers are watching now, because we have one of the oldest communities in Oakland County, and those folks have not, they're still using cable like they used to, and they're still paying for cable. And so as those, as those folks continue to switch to a different kind of service, we'll lose our funding. But right now we're, they're actually still watching on cable. So, and there is a Cablecast app. So if you have a smart TV, you can watch it on Cablecast, and it's a little icon that Steve will maybe put up later. But it's just like YouTube or Paramount or Netflix or and your smart TV, and then you can see the videos in HD as opposed to SD, which is what they're broadcast on cable channel.
Carrie, you have a show. Tell us
I do.
about the show.
I do. Coffee with Carrie. I really am a big coffee fan, and so that's where that name came from. And I really, it's all about sitting down with the people who make Bloomfield Township a great place to live, work, and play. And so I usually introduce our new department heads on that program, and then other community members. I've talked to Tara Moon over at the library and some other folks, and usually when they're in a new position, or just to highlight some of the other good work that we do here so that people can get to know those that are serving them a little bit better.
Carrie, before we sign off, are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with our viewers?
Oh, just if you're interested in telling a story, our door is always open. And if you just want to drop into the cable building, you're more than welcome here. We're here from 7 to 5:30 Monday through Thursday. And our next orientation for new programming is going to be in September. We have a back to school event, which is a day of digital literacy where community members and some of the staff, we provide like 45-minute workshops about different tools and tricks in what we do for our job here. And then last year we had a live podcast, which is one of the things that you have to do if you're going to become a community producer. And even if you don't want to be a producer yourself, we can connect you with great community producers who are already doing shows. So if you want to be on a show and you want to send us an email, you let us know. And that's what we're here for.
You and the staff have created a very warm and welcoming environment. And it takes me back when I first came up with the idea for practical law. I remember I had to take a course, and at that point we had a standard poodle, and she was sitting in the chair as my first guest when I was learning. So anything goes, and it's great. And I appreciate having you as our guest on Gracefully Graying. And I want to thank you so much, Carrie. And again, I want to thank our viewers and, of course, our sponsors and Bloomfield Cable for making this possible. Thank you so much.